2 seconds. Draw, 2 shots, back in the holster. That is the entire job description of a military pistol. And the United States has trusted that job to only 4 guns in over a century. One of them served for 74 years. One of them lost a competition that broke an American love affair. And the last one on this list was never officially ordered at all. There is no published contract, no announcement, no paperwork you can find. We will get to it. This is every pistol the U.S. military actually uses. Start with an honest fact. A pistol is the least important weapon a soldier carries and the most personal. It is what remains when the rifle is empty, broken, or out of reach. The weapon of last resort, worn on the body, drawn at conversational distance. Which is exactly why armies argue about pistols more than almost anything else. You are not choosing a tool. You are choosing what a man will be holding in the worst 10 seconds of his life. For most of the 20th century, America's answer was one gun. In 1911, the Army adopted a design by John Moses Browning, the same man who would later build the .50 caliber machine gun, and named it after the year, the M1911. Chambered in .45 ACP, 7 rounds, all steel. It went over the top in the trenches of France, waded ashore at Normandy, froze at Chosin, and sweated through Vietnam. 74 years of continuous service, the longest-serving sidearm in American history. And it earned its legend the hard way. The design brief literally came from combat failure, when American revolvers in the Philippines could not stop charging Moro warriors, and the Army demanded a cartridge that ended fights with one hit. Browning's answer was so complete that a century later, custom shops still build match pistols on his exact geometry. And when Delta Force wanted the perfect handgun in the 1980s, they did not design a new one. They rebuilt his. And then, in 1985, America broke its own heart. The fleet of 1911s was worn out. Many of the frames were older than the fathers of the men carrying them. NATO wanted a common pistol cartridge, and that cartridge was the 9mm, not the .45. So the Army ran a competition for a new service pistol, and the winner was not American at all. It was Italian, the Beretta 92, adopted as the M9. Read the American gun press from that year, and you can still feel the outrage. A 100-year-old American icon replaced by an Italian design firing a smaller European cartridge. But the M9 had the arguments that mattered. 15 rounds instead of 7, lighter recoil, faster training, and NATO logistics. It became the pistol of an entire generation. Panama, the Gulf, Somalia, 2 decades of Iraq and Afghanistan. Over 500,000 were made for the military, so many that Beretta built a factory in Maryland just to feed the contract, and an Italian family firm founded in 1526, older than the United States by 2.5 centuries, became the face of the American holster. It also became the pistol everyone loved to complain about, not because it failed often, because it was issued everywhere, to everyone, for 30 years. Magazines wore out in desert sand. The double-action first trigger pull was long and heavy. And by the 2000s, the fleet had the same disease the 1911s once had: age. Slides and frames with decades of rounds through them. The Army did the math and reached the same conclusion it had reached in 1985. It is time. What came next was the biggest handgun competition in American military history, and its winner is now riding in holsters across every branch. But be precise about what actually won, because it was not really a pistol. It was an idea. In 2017, the Army announced the winner of its modular handgun system competition, Sauer, with the pistol the Army named the M17. Here is the idea that won. Legally, the M17's firearm is not the slide, not the barrel, not the polymer frame you see. It is a small stainless steel rail hidden inside, the fire control unit. That is the serialized part. Everything around it swaps, barrels, slides, grip frames in 3 sizes. The Army did not buy a pistol so much as a pistol system, one that can be resized to a soldier's hand the way a uniform is resized to a soldier's body. Add a slide cut ready for an optic, a rail for a light, and 15 years of polymer frame lessons. And you have the M17, 9mm, 17 rounds, and the first genuinely new idea in an American holster in a century. Before a single crate shipped, the Army tortured it, dropped it on concrete, froze it, baked it, buried it in sand and salt fog, and demanded thousands of rounds between stoppages. Then the crates started arriving in 2017, first to the 101st Airborne, then division by division, until the M9's 30-year reign simply ended, unit by unit, range by range. Soldiers who had never fired anything but a Beretta stepped to the line, and most of them shot better scores on day 1. Lighter trigger, better grip, an optic where iron sights used to be. If you are the kind of viewer who stays for fire control units and holster policy, this channel was built for you. Subscribing is one tap, and it tells us to keep going. But the Army's full-size M17 is only half the story. Because the version that actually conquered the American military is its little brother, the M18. Same fire control unit, same 17-round magazines, shorter barrel, shorter slide, a pistol cut for concealment and comfort rather than parade. And here is the quiet surprise. When the other branches chose, they did not choose the big one. The Marine Corps went all in on the M18. One pistol to replace the M9, the M45A1, and the M007. The Air Force took it. The Navy took it. Line the two up side by side, and the difference is a few centimeters of steel. In careers, the difference is everything, because the M18 rides in more American holsters today than any other handgun. 2 sizes, 1 pistol, and the smaller one 1, which tells you something honest about modern war. The average service pistol spends 1,000 hours in a holster for every second it spends firing, and the gun that carries best wins, which leaves the pistol nobody ordered. In America's Special Operations units, the ones we covered in our last 2 videos, the standard answer is not the M17 or the M18. It is the Glock 19 carried under the quiet designation Mark 27. And its paper trail is almost comically thin. There is no published Navy contract, no announcement, a single industry report from December 2015. And then, the outcome. SEALs photographed with Glocks. Delta carrying Glocks. The most heavily documented military on Earth adopting a sidearm the way you would adopt a rumor. The reasons are not mysterious. The Glock 19 is compact. It is famously reliable, the kind of reliability that survives mud tests on the internet and 2 million police holsters in the real world. Its trigger is the same on the first shot and the 50th, and it hides under a jacket in places where a uniform would get you killed. It is also the pistol of the FBI's hostage rescue team of federal agents of half the SWAT teams in America. The quiet consensus of people who carry a gun for a living. The Navy's beloved P226, the pistol we told the full story of in our SEAL Team 6 video, ended its 30-year run the same way. Quietly, replaced without a press release. In special operations, that is how pistols change. No competition, no ceremony. One day, the armorer's shelf simply holds something new. So step back and look at the whole line, a century in 4 guns. The M1911, all steel, 7 rounds, chosen when a pistol was expected to stop a charging man. The M9, 15 rounds of NATO diplomacy, the price of joining an alliance. The M17, not a gun but a system, a serialized idea wearing whatever body the mission requires. And the Mark 27, no paperwork at all, just quiet professionals choosing the tool that disappears best. That is the real story of the American pistol. Every generation, the definition of trust changed, from stopping power to capacity to modularity to invisibility. The rifle wins the firefight. But the pistol is the weapon a soldier actually lives with, on his hip at the fuel point, in the chow line, on the flight home. Choose it badly, and nothing happens for 30 years until the worst 10 seconds of someone's life. That is why this argument never ends. Even now, it is not over. SIG is already testing improvements. The Marines are hanging suppressors and optics on M18S, and somewhere in a Pentagon office, there is a folder about what comes after 9mm. Every generation swears its pistol question is settled. Every generation is wrong within 30 years. And if you want to see where those Glocks and P226 actually serve, the unit whose name was invented to deceive an enemy, that breakdown is on your screen right now.